Dating app. The stolen photos. The flickering neon sign of the late-night diner cast long, distorted shadows across the rain-slicked street. Inside, the hiss of the espresso machine and the clatter of cutlery were a thin veneer against the gnawing unease that had taken root in my soul. I stared at the lukewarm coffee, the swirling dark liquid mirroring the growing dread within me. It had started subtly, a nagging feeling that something was amiss. I'd been using Spark, the dating app, for a few months, a desperate attempt to inject some semblance of normalcy into my increasingly isolated life. The usual digital dance of swiping, matching, and awkward small talk. But then, the whispers began. A friend, Sarah, sent me a screenshot. A profile on Ember, a rival dating app, using my photos. Same face, same smile, same slightly awkward posture. Different name, different bio, different location. "Is this you?" she'd asked, her message laced with concern. At first, I dismissed it as a glitch, a bizarre technical error, but then, another screenshot, and another, and another. My face, my carefully curated online persona, was proliferating across the digital landscape, a phantom presence haunting various dating platforms. The profiles were unsettlingly diverse. Some were brazenly romantic, others hinted at darker, more predatory intentions. Some were local, others claimed to be from distant cities. It was a chaotic, unsettling tapestry woven from my stolen identity. The fear wasn't just the violation of my privacy, it was the sense of being watched, of being hunted, of being used. Someone, somewhere, was wearing my face, speaking with my voice, projecting a false image of me into the world. The police were dismissive. "Identity theft is a serious crime," the officer had said, his voice flat and disinterested, "but without financial loss, there's little we can do." They treated it as a minor inconvenience, a digital nuisance. But to me, it was a creeping, insidious terror. I deleted my Spark profile, scrubbing my digital presence as best I could, but it was too late. The stolen photos were out there, circulating in the digital ether, a virus spreading through the veins of the internet. The paranoia intensified. I began to see my face everywhere, in the fleeting glimpses of strangers on the street, in the faces of passers-by in crowded cafes. Every smile, every glance, felt like a potential threat. I was trapped in a hall of mirrors, surrounded by distorted reflections of myself. The call started next. Anonymous calls, the caller silent, the only sound a faint, rhythmic breathing. Then, the whispers. A low, guttural voice, just barely audible, murmuring my name, repeating phrases from my Spark bio, fragments of conversations I'd had on the app. "You look beautiful tonight," the voice would whisper, or "I know where you live." The calls were sporadic, unpredictable, designed to keep me on edge, to erode my sanity. I changed my number, but the calls continued, the voice always the same, a chilling echo in the darkness. I installed security cameras, reinforced my locks, turned my apartment into a digital fortress, but the fear was a constant companion, a cold, clammy hand gripping my heart. I was a prisoner in my own home, trapped by an unseen predator. One night, I woke to a strange sound, a faint scratching at my bedroom window. I sat up, my heart pounding in my chest, my breath catching in my throat. I peered through the blinds, but saw nothing. The scratching continued, growing louder, more insistent. I grabbed my phone, my fingers trembling as I dialed 911. But before I could speak, the scratching stopped. A moment of silence hung in the air, thick and heavy. Then, a voice, a low, raspy whisper, echoed from the darkness outside. "You can't hide from me," it whispered. "I know who you are." The whisper was followed by a series of sharp taps against the glass, as if something was striking the window. I screamed, a raw, primal sound that tore through the silence of the night. I scrambled out of bed, my feet pounding on the floor as I fled to the living room. I switched on the lights, flooding the apartment with a harsh, sterile glow. But the scratching continued, coming from the back window now. I grabbed a heavy vase from the coffee table, my hands shaking. I crept towards the back window, my heart pounding in my chest. I peered through the blinds, and my blood ran cold. A figure stood in the shadows of my backyard, its face obscured by the darkness. It was holding a phone, the screen illuminated, displaying my stolen photo. As it stepped into a sliver of light from a nearby street lamp, I could see it was a distorted version of me, a stranger wearing my stolen smile. The figure raised the phone, pointing it at me. The screen flickered, displaying a live feed from my security cameras. The figure was watching me, observing my every move. "You're not safe," a distorted, synthesized version of my voice echoed from the phone. "I'm always watching." I screamed again, a sound of pure, unadulterated terror. The figure turned and disappeared into the darkness, leaving me alone in the cold, empty apartment. The police arrived, their sirens wailing through the night. They searched the area, but found nothing. They dismissed my claims as the product of an overactive imagination, a manifestation of my paranoia. But I knew what I had seen. I knew that the figure was real, that it was out there, watching me, waiting. The calls continued, the whispers growing more frequent, more menacing. The figure appeared in my dreams, its face a distorted mask of my own. It was a constant, haunting presence, a phantom that stalked me through the digital and physical world. I became a recluse, a prisoner in my own apartment. I avoided social media, disconnected from the digital world. I was trapped in a state of perpetual fear, haunted by the stolen photos, the whispers, the figure in the shadows. One day, I received a package, a small, unmarked box. I opened it, my hands trembling. Inside, I found a USB drive. I plugged it into my laptop, my heart pounding in my chest. The drive contained a single file, a video. I opened it, and my blood ran cold. The video showed me, sleeping in my bed. The camera was positioned in the corner of my bedroom, capturing my every move. The figure was there, standing in the shadows, watching me. The video ended with a close-up of the figure's face, a distorted, grotesque version of my own. A voice, a chilling echo of my own, whispered from the speakers. "You're mine now," it whispered. I slammed the laptop shut, my hands shaking. I knew that I was no longer safe, that the figure had infiltrated my life, that it was watching me, waiting for its moment. I fled my apartment, leaving everything behind. I drove through the night, my destination unknown. I was a fugitive, hunted by a phantom, trapped in a nightmare from which I could not escape. I knew that I could never truly escape, that the figure would always find me, that it would always be watching. The stolen photos had become a curse, a digital plague that had infected my life. I was trapped in a hall of mirrors, surrounded by distorted reflections of myself, hunted by a predator wearing my face.